Well, you can't see it very well, but we have a Dow alert. The stock market is down 164.91 points, which is about 9/10%, bringing the stock market down to 18,039.62. But what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Let me tell you a little something about the stock market. It's, for lack of a better word, a hoax. It's also, if you go to Google right up there and in your address bar, type in Google, and then in the search bar, search for monopoly money versus real money or real money, monopoly money, something of that nature. You're going to see a picture where you have four bills overlaying four other bills. The four bills on the bottom are real money. The four bills on the top are monopoly money. Okay? And you'll notice that there's a real sick joke in America right now that all the denominations, the 1, the 5, the 20, the 50, and the 100, are all the same colors or shade of color as the denominations in the board game of Monopoly. That being said, if you don't know, check out fractional banking and see how fucked up that shit works. Or you could call it interest banking. Either way, just a quick history. Money right now is based on debt. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that the Federal Reserve, which is not even a federal entity, uh, it's a private bank, is what I'm trying to say. It's not a federal entity at all. It's no more federal than Federal Express is. The Federal Reserve is a private bank, just like Wells Fargo, just like Bank of America. However, in this country, they use it as a central bank. But they don't call it a central bank because that leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So, that being said, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913. Ever since then, our money has been backed by, well, nothing but debt. That's why you pay so many new taxes and blah, 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 rah, 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 involved in income taxes. And people are like, well, income taxes pay for our roads and our schools and blah, 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 blah. And let me tell you something. First off, you fucking idiot. Before 1913, we had schools. Before 1913, we had roads. Before 1913, we had all those things that people claim that these taxes take care of. So, delving a little further into this interest banking, which makes our money backed by debt. So what happens is the Federal Reserve prints notes or cash, whatever you want to call it, depending on how knowledgeable you are of the subject. Excuse me. So that being said, previous to 1913, on the dollar, it would say that the or any, not just dollar, but any denomination, that it was backed by gold. And now our new money calls itself a Federal Reserve note, kind of like an IOU note. See where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? So that's just a quick history on American money, the dollar. Okay, that brings me up to the stock market, which is having a big sell off, and it looks like, yeah, they've gone down to, they're 155 down now. They were just at 18,300 the other day, 2 days ago. Today is March 4th, 2015, Wednesday. Monday, it was at 18,300 ish. Anyways, I want to introduce you to something called buying on the dip. Okay? And this happens so much. Maybe you keep an eye on the stock market, maybe you don't, but you keep an eye on the numbers a lot like I do. And you notice that they'll go way down and then, miraculously a few days later come right back up. And we've had some 300 and 400 point drops that should be like, Huge fucking news. But like no news outlets really cover it. They're like, oh, we had a bad day at the stock market today. We're down 2.2%, excuse me. And then not explain to you that that means 400 fucking points on the fucking day and blah 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 blah. The reason for that is because a lot of the fucking scoundrels in your banking systems, yeah, that's right, your banking systems that you give money to, that you allow to fucking accrue interest on your money that pays their bills. That's another long story for another fucking day, but let's get back to buying on the dip. So, now what we have here is what they call a market sell-off. And when that happens, it creates a dip in the line. See, the line can be moving up, it can be moving flat, or it can be moving down. Now, when it goes down, they call that a dip. And so a lot of these stockbrokers and the people on Wall Street like to make money out of old money. So what they do is they sell off a whole bunch of stuff, okay? And so as they're selling off, the market is still going up, but once it gets to a certain point, then it starts to dip. See what I'm saying here? So once it's on the dip, now all those stocks that they just sold for a higher price up here are at a lower price down here. So as soon as the dip hits the bottom or slows down, then they start buying this stock that they sold for up here back for this price down here. So now they've got the same stock they had here, but they got it for a fucking cheaper price after they sold it up here. So that being said, that's what buying on the dip is. That's why we can have, 3-digit drops in a day and then make it up, within 3 or 4 days. So I would say that either this Friday, the stock market's going to make a big shot up. May not take just one day. Sometimes they spread it over a couple of days, but I guarantee you, by next Tuesday, they will be back up to 18,300. It sounds funny. I've wanted to make this video so many times before, and knowing my luck, this will be the last dip, and we're going to go into economic crash or whatever that people have been predicting for a while, that I also agree with. I fully believe that the dollar is going to collapse at some point. Maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, or even this year. Who fucking knows? Only the big banksters know, and the people in the loop. But let me give you an example of this happening before. So in the mid 1800s, late 1800s, Napoleon was getting his ass kicked at Waterloo. But Nathan Rothschild had sent word out that Napoleon had won. That scared a lot of people. So in London, the stock market shrank down to 2% of what it was at the day's start. When that happened, all the stocks became incredibly cheap, just like buying on the dip. So what happened? Well, Nathan Rothschild and his family went in, bought up everything they could while everything was down on the dip. And then when word got back that fucking Napoleon got his ass handed to him in Waterloo, then bam, the stock market rebounded and came back up. See, that's a classic, historic example of buying on the dip. That's how the Rothschilds got into power. That's why they're the second most rich family in the world, second only to the Queen of fucking England and the royalty out there. So, just know what the fuck is going on out there. Research fractional banking, research interest banking, research the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 and the Federal Reserve, which hasn't been audited in 102 years. Anyways, thanks for tuning in the channel. Let me rant. You guys have a great day, and check the stock market on Tuesday.